to call this regular meeting of the City of Pasco Code Enforcement Board to order. These proceedings are being presented live on PSC-TV cable channel 191 and will be rebroadcast throughout the following month. The Code Enforcement Board conducts public meetings to hear issues regarding alleged violations of the city code, in particular property maintenance standards. For those of you present, if you're given the opportunity to address the Code Board tonight, we ask you speak clearly into the microphone at the podium right over here. State your name and address for the record. I'd like to request, if you brought your cell phone tonight, that you please turn it off during the proceedings. We will now have roll call.
Mr. Dwayne Spear.
Present.
Mr. Daniel Gunshot.
Present.
Mr. James Rawlinson.
Present.
We have 3 members present.
All right, thank you. The next item of business on tonight's agenda is the approval of the minutes from the July 11th, 2019 meeting. May I have a motion to approve the minutes, please?
I move the minutes of the July 11th, 2019 meeting of the Code Enforcement Board be approved as mailed.
A second.
It's been moved and seconded. We accept the minutes as they were mailed. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, none are opposed. The motion carries. We will now hear the cases scheduled for tonight, August 1st, 2019 at 7 o'clock for alleged violations of the Pasco Municipal Code. The City of Pasco is a petitioner. Property owners and their authorized representatives here to address the city's charges are the respondents. The purpose of these hearings is to determine whether the city, by a preponderance of the evidence, has proven that the violation charged has occurred upon certain properties owned or controlled by the respondents, and if so, whether the required corrective action is reasonable and whether a monetary penalty is appropriate. The procedures are as follows. First, the chair will open the hearing, which is being recorded. To ensure the accuracy of testimony, each person who will be testifying shall be sworn to truthfulness. Second, the city has a burden of proof and shall present its case, including any witnesses and exhibits that are relevant to the case. The respondents may cross-examine the city and the city's witnesses. Third, the respondent shall present their case, including any witnesses and exhibits that are relevant to the case. The city may cross-examine the respondent's witnesses. Fourth, the city will have the opportunity for rebuttal of the respondent's evidence raised in their case, and the respondents may answer the city's rebuttal. Fifth, and finally, after all the evidence is in the record, the hearing will be closed. This will be the only opportunity to present evidence in your case. And then finally, the board members will discuss the charges, facts, and evidence presented, and then render a decision. A copy of the decision will be mailed to all parties within 10 working days of the hearing.
Mr. Chair, we are ready to hear tonight's cases. Before we begin, will you please explain the procedure for providing testimony and swearing all city staff, respondents, and any other witnesses who have appeared here tonight to offer testimony?
Yes, sir. Testimony can only be received at the microphone. When you address the board, please state your name and address at the beginning of your testimony. If you have any written material you wish to be considered, please present them to be marked as an exhibit, and it will become part of the hearing record. Are there any questions about the procedure at all? We're good? Are there any objections to any member of the board hearing your matter due to your belief that any one of us may have a conflict of interest or the appearance of one? And if so, indicate the objection now or it will be considered waived. We're good? Okay. We will now swear in the witnesses who will testify in these proceedings. Would all city staff, respondents, witnesses, for the case tonight, please stand and raise your right hand. So, sir, if you're going to be coming up and talking to us, if you would stand and raise your right hand, please. Do you promise to tell the truth in these proceedings? If so, please respond, I do.
I do.
Excellent. You may be seated. The city will now present their first case.
Mr. Chair, our first case is CEV 2019-0737. Mr. Fogan, will you please present your case?
The property known as 5906 West Sylvester Street was inspected on 7/2/2019. Violations of the Pasco Municipal Code were observed and were determined to be repeat violations. The violation being building a structure without a permit. This repeat notice of civil violation was issued on 7/3/2019 via certified mail. The property owner was legally notified on 7/8/2019 of the conditions, which I believe to be a repeat violation of the Pasco Municipal Code. I supplied the board with pictures of original, current, and past property conditions with the date clearly marked on them, on the pictures. As you can see, this is today's date, yesterday, 7/31/2019, for an unpermitted patio cover structure that's been erected. Past stop work notices and past case CEV 2019-0302. A stop work was posted on 3/21/2019, and a correction notice was sent on 3/26 due to the property owner failing to submit a permit application for the new construction. You can see here that this is a picture that we collected on the date of the stop work on 3/21/2019. I'd like the board to take a look at the picture. Notice that there are missing rafters there and no plywood on the structure. This violation that occurred on this past case was building a structure without a permit. We sent out a correction notice for this case on 3/26/2019, and then we followed it up with an NCV since there was no compliance. On 4/22/2019, we had to issue a second stop work notice because the property owner continued to work on the unpermitted new structure without an issued permit. At this time, there's no permit application entered, nor is there still, and there is also no demo permit. Same date, 4/22/2019. From this angle, you can see that the rafters have been added. I've provided on the next slides better angles. Right there, you see the rafters and then the blue trim on the plywood that's been added after the stop work was posted originally on 3/21/2019.
Sir,
And then on
excuse me just a minute. You'll get a chance to tell us your side, sir. Thank you.
same day, different angle. Here's the picture where the plywood and the rafters have been added. And I provided the initial stop work photo. As you can see, the differences of it continuing to be worked on. Provided some street views in 2012 of the past structure that was there. This canopy carport. And some aerial views, also same year, 2012, of that canopy carport. 2015, same carport. And 2018, so as of last year, it was the canopy carport. Based off the final inspection of the property, which was completed on 7/31/2019, it is my opinion that property is not in compliance at this time. Violations that have not been corrected are building a permit, no building permit for the patio cover. The City of Pasco recommends that Raymond Kruger shall pay $200 for a repeat penalty and be given 10 days to correct any remaining violations or pay a penalty of $100 a day for 10 days.
All right, thank you. Sir, if you'd like to come up now. And would you mind taking your hat off for us tonight, sir?
sorry.
All right, and state your name and address for the record.
Yeah, my name is Raymond Kruger.
Okay, what would you like to tell us about this? Sir? Oh, could I get your address, please?
5906 West Sylvester Street, Pasco.
All right, thank you,
For
sir.
20 years, I've lived in that house,
Okay, tell us
right
what's
there,
going on
the
here.
same location.
Okay,
Anyway, it's pretty obvious. Yeah, the structure changed. I had the structure there for many years, no problem. I didn't really like it because it didn't look that nice. The last winter was pretty harsh and it did some severe damage, and I decided I'd put it back together. And it turned out quite a bit nicer than it was, yes. But my neighbor, Dwayne Hughes, I've had conversation with him about it for quite a while, and he wanted me to do something to make it look better, and he was okay with what I was doing. And the last thing he said about that was, just make it look nice, and that's what I was trying to do. I didn't know that I had to have a permit for that, really. I guess I probably should have thought a little bit more about it, but I didn't really realize that it's a structure that's already there. I'm fixing it up. It's just a place to put my boat. It's not a permanent structure. And I know this department doesn't believe that this one is not a permanent structure. I mean, I built it myself. I'm 62, and It's about the last thing I got in me, and I'm disabled. I'm getting a Social Security pension. Uh, you know, there's a lot of things that led up to this whole thing, but the thing is now it's built and it's better than it was. The neighbor has no problem with it. I feel like, you know, Mr. Potman may have kind of been, you know, zealously going after me. I don't really know why me, because I look around and there's so many violations, and I know one, two wrongs don't make right, whatever. But in my backyard, I got a building that's a foot into my backyard, and you know, there's really no harm, no foul. So why I didn't say nothing when I moved in over 20 years ago. I've lived in that same house. So, you know, in the neighborhood, you kind of, how the neighbors, if you're making the neighbors mad, then maybe you better do something to change it. But if the neighbors aren't upset, or you're, you know, hurting their place financially or whatever, I feel like that the neighborhood kind of should have a little bit of control over what happens there. And this certainly is much, much better than what I had before. If, you know, once I get the tarp off it and the sheet metal on it. But you know, the whole thing is I just don't feel that. I drive down Sylvester on my way over here, and I'm not kidding you. I did this yesterday, but I got a page and a half, or I got multiple pages of at least 50 different violations of the
Mr.
same.
Kruger, I'm going to stop you there because the city, how
Well, I
did
have a
staff,
right
let
to
me
speak.
ask a question. I'll let you finish. I promise I'll let you finish. How did we come about being aware of Mr. Kruger's?
So we're complaint oriented. So when we receive complaints, just because of the sheer volume of complaints we're unable to actively be policing or enforcing. So we respond to complaints that came in about the property. And so since it was a new structure, new construction, that's why the stop work was issued, and
Okay,
also
so
the
he didn't,
correction
they
notices.
don't have it in for you, sir.
There's a piece of paper, Mr. Popman told me I could go to the City of Pasco website, and I did. And I looked under complaints. And I can read it to you, or you can, but what it says, complaints, enter a brief description, alleged violation or complaint, and provide the address of the property you are concerned about if an address is applicable. Incomplete descriptions will slow or prevent proper follow-up. Also, anonymous complaints will prevent a follow-up. Seems to me like this is a follow-up kind of to be. I mean, it says right there when this all happened, talked to Mr. Potvin, and so I came down to the next day and I checked on getting a permit, and I was told by Trent, you know, that you're not going to get a permit for that, you know. Well, it's already up, it's already structured, already there. And then I mentioned, well, what about all the other temporary structures along Sylvester? There's literally dozens and dozens. You can see them. I mean, every day I notice more and more of them.
Yeah.
And they're nice places. They're not dumps. But he told me at the time that he said that we're not enforcing that right now because you don't have enough bodies. You couldn't, if you went out and tried to enforce everybody who's got a temporary boat shelter or a shelter, you'd have to have another dozen guys on duty probably to police that. And that's the way I took it. He wasn't enforcing it. And, you know, I just don't know. I paid the fine. After that, I did put some plywood on there because I had a tremendous amount of stuff that was stored in front of my house, and I didn't want it there. Needed to get out. I put it back into there, and I put the plywood over it and a tarp over that, and it hasn't done a thing since I got fined the $500 the first time. And you know what? I'm paying that fine. I paid it monthly payments, and I paid the last 3 months. I paid them. I'm not late. I just don't understand why. I haven't done anything more to that structure. It ain't tore down, but I'm still got some other options that I'm looking at, and one of them being trying to acquire the amount of property right away that I would need to satisfy the building department, so. And I can't even really get a straight answer on what's the legal setback. I mean, everybody's always told me 10,
So-
10, 10, but
What we're going to talk about tonight, sir, and I appreciate your opinion, but we're going to talk about what the case is tonight, is that you have not gotten your permit to do the construction first, and I want to know why you haven't done that.
they won't give it to me. I tried 3 times. I asked 3 people. They said they're not gonna permit you for that. So
So-
there's really, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to hand in the paperwork and then,
Right. How
waste
come-
their time and.
How
In my
come you
time-
didn't? Because you're a smart guy, I know that. How come you didn't consider that you would need a permit when you started putting that up?
Well, it was a structure that was there. It wasn't a nice structure, but it was a structure that was there. How many people, fix up, I'm a home improvement guy. I'm always trying to fix things up. I try and make it look better and nicer,
Or just to clarify, the original structure was a temporary membrane structure,
Right.
canvas top.
Right.
Now it is a steel structure with wood rafters, plywood,
Yeah.
I'm assuming a metal top. Not only does it encroach into the property line, but it also exceeds 2 to 3 feet into the neighbor's property.
What could he do to satisfy, short of tearing it down, what could he do to satisfy the city?
Unfortunately, he's gonna have to tear it down. It's a 10-foot minimum setback in that area.
Oh.
So that's only gonna allow him 2 to 3 foot of a patio cover. I apologize, I don't know what your exact property line is, but it would be extremely small. It's a 10-foot minimum setback.
All right.
Regardless, the state of Washington and the city, we adopted the Southeastern Washington Stormwater Manual, which means you have to maintain your own stormwater on your property.
Well, that was all a part of the
This is-
plan that, I got stopped there before I had a chance to cut it off the property line. I promised that I'd put a gutter on it and contain the water. That was already
Still
discussed.
encroaches into that area, that 10-foot buffer, so you would have to cut it back at least 10 foot. If you want to still put a gutter on it,
I know
like,
what the intent is, so the firemen could get through. Is mostly what, they like to have a room on the side of the house where they get through. That's a big
a little
part
bit
of
more
mine.
than that, a little bit more than that, but that is one good reason.
I'm looking at this and it's like, man, there's no harm. There's no harm. Why is there a foul? And now I'm being threatened with these exorbitant fines, like, I'm threatened with a $5,000 fine. It's like, I'm not a criminal, and I don't think that a citizen should be faced with $5,000 fine because he tried to protect his boat and stuff, and he had his neighbor's permission. I just don't see it. I'm all about city and being a good neighbor. I don't, if it's pissing my neighbor off, I'm not gonna do it. And if he asked me to tear it down today, I'd tear it down today. But the thing is I feel like I've got his blessing, and, if he wants, I'll throw some money at it if I have to, rather than throw it away at silly fines,
Yeah, because what we're talking about now is you already have the structure up, you didn't have a permit, and it's over the limits. And so we have to figure out what it is, whether within the, because what the city would like to do is they want to fine you $200 for the repeat and give you 10 days to basically tear it down, or pay $100 per day for 10 days.
Board, actually, it'd be, all you would have to do is obtain the a demo permit, since it's not going to be permitted through our building,
Oh, okay,
planning,
okay.
and engineering departments, because it doesn't meet
okay.
the setbacks, so.
That would allow him a little bit more time.
It allows him
Ridiculous,
6 months.
To have to get a demo permit, something that they wouldn't let me build. I mean, come on, let's be real here. That's ludicrous.
And board, I supplied you guys with some supplement information. If you look at the development standards for RS-12 and turn to page 3, down at 2535050, number 4, it says minimum yard setbacks. Those are the exact code that he would be violating. So, and that's why the building department and planning is unable to approve his permit application.
What's the purpose of a demolition permit?
To make sure that the structure is removed and done properly.
Properly meaning
meaning there's no remnants left over, that it's actually been taken down.
What does it cost?
$56.50.
$56.50.
$56.50.
Yes, sir.
I tend to agree that it's ludicrous to have to get a permit to tear something down they can't keep there because it's not allowed.
What happens a lot, sir, is we do more damage doing, performing the demolition than anything else, especially since this is over the property line.
Yeah.
Fence, retaining walls. One of them's, this is on a retaining wall. The cold form steel studs are on a retaining wall. So that'd be another thing we check to make sure there's no any fractures or breaks due to anchoring it down for the building inspector to come out and verify.
I've got an architect who will say it's fine.
Sir, if you could talk in microphone.
I have an architect who will say it's fine.
Well, okay, Mr. Kruger, I appreciate, and honestly, I do, I appreciate your situation. I wish you would have gotten a permit and
wish
done
I
it right
would've
the
too,
first
sir.
time.
I was
And
told-
unfortunately, somebody complained and you got on the city's radar. And once they're there, wherever that leads, that's where it goes.
Yeah.
And so unfortunately, you're stuck with that. And so we have to decide what we're going to do with you tonight, because you're not going to be able to keep it up legally. And so I'm trying to, I understand your frustration. I get you, but once the city is made aware and there's a complaint about your property, and that would happen on any property that where there was a complaint, they're going to check it out. And now we have to resolve the issue of this the structure that needs to be taken down, and we're just trying to figure out if you have a plan or something of getting that done in a timely manner.
You know, I'm not giving up on it yet. You know, I still have hopes to acquire the property next to it.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to keep finding me forever on it. I just don't, where does it stop is my question. You know, if
Probably when it's in compliance, sir.
well, no, it's going to stop before that because I'll be dead before then. And probably all of us will be dead, hopefully. But, you know, there's really no harm that has been done here. The structure is up. Yeah, no building permit, but I got a list here.
It doesn't.
50 houses.
I gotcha. That has nothing to do with your case.
Yeah. Well, why is he coming back after me and not going after these other people? It's my question.
That was a
He
complaint.
had a complaint.
Somebody complained about your property.
A complaint that it says right in the city pamphlet there that they're not going to check it out. It says right there.
Well, your property got checked out, sir.
You need to read that because it states it. It's pretty clear.
You wish to enter
Right
that,
there
This-
where it says complaints.
you wish to enter that as evidence?
Yeah.
All right, this will be Exhibit 1. Give me just a second.
But my question to you, Mr. Kruger, on 3/26, you were issued a stop work notice,
321, sir.
or
Excuse
on
me.
3/21, you were issued a stop work order,
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
and you continued to do the work. Why?
Well, we stopped that day. But then
Yeah, but stop means stop.
that
It
day
doesn't
we
say,
stopped.
it doesn't say we can start back again at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Well, I have a right to protect my goods that are outside, stored on the ground outside.
You
Yeah, I
have-
do.
you
I
have
have
a
the
stop.
right to cover them up, sir. And that-
Yeah, you can cover it up with a
and I
tarp
put
or
the sheet-
something,
I put the plywood up there, covered up.
and you added more rafters.
No, show me where I added more rafters. I did not see that. He doesn't show me pictures.
Okay,
Sir, right there.
see at the end right there?
Oh, those three on the end. Oh, you're saying that's adding.
You added those rafters after the stop work order.
No, hang
It
on.
didn't say, well, we can put the 3 on there and then stop. It
Yeah,
said stop.
I guess that I guess I have to accept that because as far as I was concerned, it was done and up, and you know.
What was it?
Okay, you got the point there. I understand that. I just I'm just real curious as to why me? Why did they get on to me? Why won't they tell me who made the complaint? Because it says right there that they're not gonna. It pretty much says they're not gonna check it out if it's an anonymous complaint. Because anybody in the dark can make anonymous complaints. That's like, you're not, I don't know. I really
right.
don't know. I think if a person complains about something, they ought to, come right out and say, hey, I have a problem with this.
Okay.
I'll talk like a man with anybody about it.
Yeah.
And I talked with Mr. Hughes more than many times about this.
I understand it. We're talking about the structure that you built, sir, and your neighbor, whether he approves or likes it or dislikes it, that's irrelevant, unfortunately. And so is there anything else you'd like to tell us about this tonight that's relevant?
Well, I would like you to give me some time here on this before you start finding me more, because I think there's still a good hope that this is going to be permitted eventually. Maybe not at this moment, but realistically, if it does get permitted eventually, isn't that what we're trying to do here? We're not trying to beat Ray up. We're trying to do it like you want it done, with a permit.
Mm-hmm.
And if I think I can get one, if I can acquire the property, I will apply for a permit. I can guarantee you that. But,
If
I
he
just,
applies
I
for-
don't see any reason to not.
Just a second, Mr. Kruger. If he applies for a demo permit, how long does he have?
6 months.
So if you apply for a demo permit, you can put off the daily fines for 6 months while you look into acquiring the property.
Yeah, that might be an option. I have to think about that a little bit. But, I kind of really felt that it just didn't really.
I mean,
You
56,
buy a permit to do something that you didn't really get to do, and it's kind of,
Yeah.
come on, man.
yeah, but $56 versus,
I guess that's
1,000.
worth buying 6 months to keep me from getting fined for 6 months until I can see if I can pull this deal off, or, I really like to see the city a little bit more. I wish this would have been something that could have gone to the planning department and had a variance done.
It did go to the planning department, and the planning department was very specific. You cannot have any construction within 10 feet of your property line. This is to the property line and beyond.
So I'm not.
So regardless of what the board says, this structure still has to be removed because there is an invisible property line that goes all the way up to the sky. You cannot exceed that. So it's not fair for your next door neighbor to have
it's not
your
fair to let
structure
other people
and your
do it.
hold on and your stormwater entering their property. So just to clarify with the board, this has been going on for 5 months.
These are
2
all-
stop recorders, and
these
Mr.
are all
Kruger
places-
continued to work.
Right here, these are all places that I verified. They're non-compliant.
And if you make
They're guilty, just like me.
and if you bring
And
those
he's
to
not
the
going after
city,
them, and I've told them where they're at.
Okay, Mr. Kruger, if you have honest complaints and you follow the procedure, they will follow up on those. But
Okay.
let's talk about your property right now.
Well-
Do you have anything else that's relevant you'd like to share with us tonight?
Well, I'm really apprehensive about giving them these because then I'm just a snitch who don't want to have my name out
It's
there.
whatever you want to do, sir.
Yeah, okay. Well, let me see. I had some notes here. Make sure I got everything covered that I needed.
Okay.
Now, is the killing point, is it because it's not, right now, it's not physically movable? Because it was fully intended and still can be a movable item, that it can be moved.
It
And
doesn't,
I talked to Trent about it.
Mr. Kruger, it doesn't matter how you present it, sir, the structure has to come down. You can turn it and say it 10 different ways, the structure's coming down. Now, I thought that Jim had a really great idea for you, is that get that, the demo permit, that gives you 6 months to try to acquire that other property,
Yeah.
and then maybe you won't have that issue.
Yeah, let's do that, I guess.
That would be the
I think
smart
you're-
thing to do, and you would
I
need to
think
do
you're
that
done
pretty
with me,
quick.
so,
Okay?
yeah.
All right, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. You can go ahead and have a seat. There will be no further evidence to be presented. I determine the record complete. The hearing is now closed and no additional evidence will be permitted. The board will now discuss the charges, facts, and evidence presented, then we will render our decision. First off, do we agree by a preponderance of the evidence the city has proven that a violation of the Pasco Municipal Code has occurred? And may I have a motion, please?
I move that the board, having heard the case and facts presented and by preponderance of the evidence presented, find the respondent in violation of the Pasco Municipal Code.
Is there a second?
I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. What do we want to do? I'll just go with the city's recommendation. That's what I would do.
I don't want to find him that much.
Okay. Hold on just a minute, sir. The hearing is closed. We're just getting some information together.
I was gonna ask, is that gonna be 6 months from?
Sir?
No, we can't discuss that right now.
I'm not gonna make a motion.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I move a repeat penalty of $200 be imposed on this property which is found to be in repeat violation of Pasco Municipal Code, but has not corrected the violations, and he be given 10 days or pay the $100 per day fine.
There's a second. I second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
The motion carries. Sir, you will get an official notice in the mail within 10 business days. Thank you for coming tonight. We do appreciate it.
If you go get the demo permit,
Go get the demo permit.
you'll save the $100 a day fine for 10 days.
Go get your demo permit. Okay, very good.
As soon as I get the permit, I have 6 months to have it torn down.
Yeah.
So we're gonna come back.
The city will explain that to you if you have any more questions. Thank you for coming. We appreciate it. Oh, we've got to move on, sir. I appreciate it. Do we have any more cases tonight?
Yes, sir. Our next case is CEB 2019-0749. Mr. Poven, will you please present your case?
They need to be sworn in.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I'll do it when they come up.
Yep.
The property known as 4437 Galway Lane was inspected on 7/9/2019. Violations of the Pasco Municipal Code were observed and were determined to be a fourth repeat violations. Current case, several here: failure to maintain healthy growing condition for front lawn, storing appliances and other items that have served their original intended purpose. Inoperable vehicles. This means any vehicle it appears to be a junk vehicle, doesn't run, is unlicensed or expired tabs, and storing vehicle parts in the driveway, exhaust pipes, vehicle jacks. A fourth repeat notice of civil violation was issued on 7/11 via certified mail. The property owner was legally notified on 7/15/2019 of the conditions, which I believe to be a fourth repeat violation of the Pasco Municipal Code. I've supplied the board with pictures of original, current, and past property conditions with the date clearly marked on the pictures. This is 7/9/2019, the original inspection date. As you can see, there's some computers. This is a computer PC tower. Served its original intended purpose due to it being outside, exposed to the environment. Bed frames, items for inside, and then off to the right, you guys can see, the board can see that there's a fridge right there, or an appliance of some kind, along with the inoperable vehicle, no license plate, flat tire, oil, some jacks and exhaust pipes on the right picture near the lawnmower, and more bed frames. And this is, as of yesterday, the yard was still partially dead, in an unhealthy growing condition, still inoperable vehicles outside, flat tires in the two vehicles, and no license plate on the red one. Previous notices were sent the following dates: 8/15/2019 for CEB 2017-1360. This was the first repeat. We have code cases and complaints dating back to roughly 2013, but we can only consider the past 2 years for repeat violations. This first repeat in 2017 was for appliances, also fridges, barbecues, washer or dryer in the back, stored outside, all items that have served their original intended purpose. And then for the second repeat, which was sent out on 11/16 of 2017. Oh, whoops, wrong date. Yeah. Store appliances and other items, once again. And here's some more pictures, barbecues, miscellaneous items, shelving, cabinets. And I believe this one off to the left was a car seat. All items that should either be stored behind an enclosed structure, within a vehicle, or in a building. Here's more pictures off to the north side of the property. And here we have the third repeat case. This was last year's. Once again, store appliances being stored outside that have served their original intended purpose. Tires, vehicles parked on the front yard, and also the yard was not maintained in a healthy growing condition. Here are the pictures for those. Microwave appliance, shelving, tires off to the left under that circle mark, and then a vehicle parked on the dead lawn. And this was in August, so yard should be in somewhat of a healthy growing condition. And like I mentioned before, these are the past complaints that we received, several addressing the same issues year after year dating back to 2013. And here's an aerial view of last year. So a lot of the items you can see are most likely spilling over from the back to the front yard. So at this time, based on the final inspection of the property, which was completed on 7/30/2019, is my opinion that the property is not compliant at this time. The violations that have still not been corrected are listed under description and cited violations as not corrected on the hearing fact sheet that the city provided to you. The City of Pasco recommends that Elizabeth A. Fitzgerald, ETL, also State of Elizabeth A. Fitzgerald, shall pay an immediate monetary penalty of $600 for committing the same violations within an abeyance period for the case CEB 2018-1347 and pay $800 for a fourth repeat penalty and be given 10 days to correct any remaining violations to pay a penalty of $400 per day for 10 days or pay a penalty of $400 a day for 10 days.
All right, thank you. Who'd like to be heard in this case? Folks, come on up. I'll swear you in as soon as you get up to the microphone here. If you just state your name and address for the record, then I'll swear you in.
My name is Jessica Fitzgerald. The address is 4437 Galway Lane, Pasco.
Okay, and will you be testifying as well, sir?
No.
Okay, would you please raise your right hand? I'll swear you in really quick. Do you swear to tell the truth? If so, say I do.
I do.
Thank you. All right, what would you like to tell us about this man?
Well, a lot of those items were not there for that long of a period of time. Like, maybe a week or whatever. I guess that's probably too much time for some people, but we actually fix things up and sell them on the side. So a lot of those things were either sold or disposed of. When we got to it, I mean, it was just... And the trucks are both operable.
The red truck has license plates?
It doesn't have tags, you're right. Okay, yeah. The red one doesn't have tags. But we plan on either getting tags for it or getting it in the garage.
You say you're fixing things up and selling them, couldn't do it behind the fence?
We try to keep
Keep
most
the front
of it
yard
behind
clear?
the fence.
The lawn green?
Yeah. We've been using the water. We've been watering the lawn, so we have been trying to get that back into green.
Ma'am, You've had multiple violations over the course of many years. Is it ever gonna change?
Well, I try to keep it out of the front yard, honestly.
Not very hard.
That's my fault. That's not your fault. You haven't been sworn in, you can't testify.
Is it ever gonna change?
I don't know what to say. I mean, I'm not gonna keep things out front. I'm gonna try to keep everything in the back.
Well, it's getting expensive, don't you think?
It's getting outrageous. I have 2 kids and a mother to look after,
Yeah,
and I can't afford this.
well, then you need to fix the problem.
Do you have any kind of a solution that you could resolve this? What have you thought about?
Just keeping everything in the back. Make sure that none of it's in the front.
Because it's once because clearly if I was a neighbor, even if they are concerned, whoever complained, we
Is
don't
it
know
the
who it is.
same person complaining?
I don't know that. I don't know who it is.
Do you guys know that? Does anybody know that?
Anonymous complaints, so we're unaware of who is
We don't know.
complaining. That would be public records if it was listed.
Yeah.
Well, it's usually temporary. I mean, honestly, it's usually not there very long.
It doesn't matter. 1 hour is too long.
Okay.
Somebody down there don't like you doing that. They keep complaining.
Yeah.
And how are you selling these items?
Craigslist.
Craigslist? Do they need a business license for?
Yes. Yes, I need a business license.
Okay, I just thought you could list stuff on Craigslist. I didn't know you had to have a business license to list stuff on Craigslist.
You don't. If you're buying and selling routinely, you do.
Right. So then it's a business.
You're running a business then.
Okay. I don't consider it a business.
Well, I think what we were hoping we would hear from you that. But how long have you been living in this house?
10 years.
10 years. Okay. We're kind of hoping that we would hear something in kind of a positive way, that you would, you were going to keep that stuff in the backyard and it wasn't going to happen again. But it doesn't sound like that's what your intention is.
Yeah, I will keep it in the backyard. I will. At least give me one more opportunity to prove that.
On the daily penalty, you will have 10 days.
But both the trucks are operable, so I don't see how that's a violation.
It's not-
Okay, well, the one doesn't have tags, so it's got to go in the garage or whatever.
Board,
If it's not tagged, it's not operable. You
Okay.
cannot drive it down the road.
Yeah.
Right.
in addition, the state that the trucks are in, which they appear to be inoperable due to flat tires, that would be considered inoperable. You can't drive the vehicle without most likely causing damage to either the street or the vehicle on the flat tires. Those would need to be corrected along with getting the tabs permitted or updated.
Are you going to be able to do that?
Yeah.
What kind of time frame would you have for that?
I think a couple of weeks is fair.
You automatically get at least that long. It says 10 days, but that's after the letter's signed. It takes a few days for that to happen.
Yeah.
So I'd like to remind the board that in the past there's been violations that have been held in abeyance
We're
That
aware of that,
Yeah, they paid
we're aware of that.
$400 and then now it's the $600, so.
Yep, I saw it here.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with us? Got anything else, Jim?
No.
Dwayne? All right. Okay, thank you very much, ma'am. You may have a seat. There being no further evidence to be presented, I determine the record complete. The hearing is now closed and no additional evidence will be permitted. The board will now discuss the charges, facts, and evidence presented, and we will render our decision. First off, do we agree by preponderance of the evidence the city has proven that a violation of the Pasco Municipal Code has occurred? May I have a motion, please?
I move that the board, having heard the case and facts presented, and by preponderance of the evidence presented, find the respondent in violation of the Pasco Municipal Code.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
I
Aye.
The motion carries. What are we doing?
see no reason to change anything they want.
Hmm?
I see no reason to go against what the city wants.
I agree.
Gosh, I just wish it wouldn't have been going on forever.
That's the problem.
Right.
Yeah, if it was
Yeah.
just the one-time thing or
I
something.
can't be sympathetic.
Yeah. All right, who's gonna do the motion?
I move that Elizabeth A. Fitzgerald et al., the state of Elizabeth A. Fitzgerald, shall pay an immediate monetary penalty of $600 for committing the same violation within an abeyance period for case number CEB 2018-1347. In addition, pay an $800 penalty for a fourth repeat penalty and be given 10 days to correct any remaining violations, or pay a penalty of $400 per day for up to 10 days.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye, the motion carries, ma'am. You get an official notice in the mail within. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I appreciate you coming tonight. Okay,
Mr. Chair, we have no further cases.
all right. Let me find where I'm at here. Here we go. Okay, do we have any amendments or dismissals to the resolution? And may we have a motion? Any?
Any amendments?
Nothing, we're good? Okay, who wants to do the motion?
I move that the board approve resolution number 8-2019, finding that code violations have been corrected and may be dismissed, deferring action on certain cases until proper notification is made, accepting voluntary correction agreements and assessing penalties and imposing timeframes on certain cases.
Is there a second?
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye, the motion carries. Do we have a report from staff tonight?
No, sir.
Any other business?
No, sir.
There being no further business before the Pasco Code Enforcement Board, this meeting is declared adjourned at 7:49.